Welcome back. Close to 2,000 people have been touched by the Synergy project. So says MP for Castries Central, Sarah Flood-Bobra, as she spoke about the strides that have been made thus far. The project, which began in 2018, seeks to address personal and societal challenges of those in Castries Central by creating opportunities for personal development, meaningful work, and long-term employment.
Over the past 3 years, the Synergy project, spearheaded by MP for Castries Central, Sarah Flood-Bobra, has grown through leaps and bounds, touching thousands of lives. The project has grown many legs, including Synergy Gold, First House by Synergy, and Synergy's Learning Academy. Flood-Bobra says the unemployment issue in Castries Central was dire, and Synergy was a lifeline.
We started to see at our constituency office so many people who came. I mean, we have seen close to 2,000 people. I'm not talking about repeat visits, people who have come for the first time, and the number of repeat visits, and people were just coming for the same things. Employment. Almost everything was related to a lack of the financial means to do something. So whether somebody came for medical care, whether they came for housing, whether they came for help with bursaries, it was all related to the lack of the financial or the resources they need to do things, by and large. And we saw people coming who were young, who are retired, who really should not be working at this time. But sometimes their children who perhaps wanted to help them were facing their own unemployment issues. So I felt that we had to have structure, as Fortuna said. Absolutely structure.
Flood-Bobra says that to date, the project has created 20 programs to cater to the needs of constituents.
All of our programs come out of a need that someone has.
Right.
We don't just stay and create a program. Someone comes, they explain to us what the story is, and we try to find the best way of resolving it. And our principle is, if there's a program out there that we can direct you to that already exists, we will do it. If there's a program out there that can support you but needs some further strengthening, we will reach out and try to do that. If there is not a program out there to assist you, we will create one. And I have to say, before talking about our programs, just recently we created a new program called Synergy Care.
A recent addition to the Synergy family is Synergy Systems. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
The number of people listed as missing after the collapse of a 12-story building in the U.S. city of Miami has risen to 159. 4 people are known to have died. The mayor of Miami-Dade says they still have hope of finding survivors. Search teams working around the clock have reported hearing people banging beneath the debris.
Rescue teams in Miami are still trying to find survivors in the rubble of the apartment building that partially collapsed early on Thursday morning. These are live pictures from the scene. 4 people have now been confirmed dead. 159 people are still unaccounted for. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden has approved an emergency declaration for the state of Florida, freeing up more financial support for the relief effort. Here's Daniela Levine Carver. She is the mayor of Miami-Dade County, talking just a short time ago.
We will continue search and rescue because we still have hope that we will find people alive. That is exactly why we're continuing, and that is why we're using our dogs and our sonar and our cameras, everything possible to seek places where there may still be people to be found.
The rescue effort is complex, and those involved are risking their own safety to try to find those who are missing. Teams have been tunnelling not just from above, but from below in an underground car park below the building in their efforts to reach victims. For more, here's Florida's Lieutenant Governor speaking to CBS News.
Urban Search and Rescue, their teams are working around the clock. They have been doing that obviously since early, right after the situation occurred. We've got the folks there, they're tunneling underneath. They have quite a few individuals, all hands on deck approach. We've got local government, state government, federal government, everyone's involved. But it really is tragic when you're on the scene. Clearly you're seeing the pictures, but the pictures just don't do it justice. It is heart-wrenching to see people's lives on full display. Everything from small personal items, stuffed animals, toys, people's livelihoods, obviously everything on full display. It is just tragic.
And this is obviously a very tense time for the relatives of those who are still missing. CBS News correspondent Manuel Barroques has been talking to some of those waiting for news.
We met the family, the Spiegel family, a 65-year-old woman, Judy Spiegel, who was in that building. We met her children here, and they just said they're not willing to give up hope at this point, that they still believe there could be a miracle beneath that rubble, that possibly those air pockets that were created when the building collapsed could still be housing survivors. And they were hopeful yesterday when rescuers said that they were hearing sounds that appeared to be banging beneath the rubble, but unfortunately they had not heard any voices.
We are really focused on that building and the hope that more people will emerge. Those living around must also be feeling incredibly tense. It's such an unexplained, sudden tragedy.
Absolutely, and of course the loss of life is the greatest tragedy here. But you also have people who lived in that building who may have not been home, and they've lost their homes at this point. There has been an outpouring of support for this community, not only here at the center where the family members have gathered. There have been donations coming through, but there have been websites set up, of course, to try to raise funds for some of the folks who lived in that building, because on top of potentially losing a loved one or a friend, they've also lost all their belongings.
We'll keep you up to date on the very latest on that story.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. The latest weather report is coming up after the break.